I'm sharing this record of World Cup victories with Judy Upsalo. We both have 33 World Cup wins. From now, I quite enjoy that we are sharing this record. He's one of the greatest in our sport, and I quite enjoy to share this record with him. But for sure, I would love to have it once for myself and hopefully win another World Cup.
Joining us in the studio today is Rio Olympic champion, 10-time world champion, 8-time World Cup overall champion, London silver, Beijing bronze, 2-time Cape Epic winner, and arguably the greatest of all time, Nino Schurter. Nino, welcome to the studio.
Thank you. What a nice intro.
So great to see you. Where are you in the world today?
I'm back home in Switzerland, in Chur, where I live. It's a small city close to Lenzerheide, where we every year have a World Cup, and that's my home.
Nice. Nino, not all of our listeners know who you are or some of your background, so for them, we're going to just talk about some of the basics. Of course, a lot of our listeners know who you are and have been following you for many, many years, but for those not so familiar with Nino, where were you born? And tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Born in a really small Swiss town. I would say there are more cows than people living there. So if you have the picture of Switzerland with Heidi and cows and whatever, that's a town where I grew up.
Wow.
In Tersnaus. That's in the canton Graubünden. It's a great place to do outdoor sports, and I had a really active childhood, playing outside together with my brother, with my parents, my sister, and we really enjoyed nature. And I got into mountain biking with doing those activities outside. So I started in a cycling club, in a ski club, actually, in an alpine ski club. And in summer training, we did some cycling training, and then there was like a race close by, and me and my brother both took part in this race, and we both won in our category. And
Wow.
Then we really got passionate about mountain biking, and then I was 7 years old, so that was my first
Wow.
race. And since then, I'm competing mountain bike events. My brother went then a bit more into downhill racing. So he was for a few years, he did downhill racing. And my father also really enjoyed downhill racing. He was for a while national coach of the downhill national team.
Nice.
And my brother he has a bike school in Tuscany, and lives in Tuscany. My father still loves riding his bike and building trails. And I'm competing since I'm 7. I'm competing in mountain bike cross-country events, and was lucky to be really successful from the beginning. And had a nice career with.
What about your sister? Did your sister pick up the sport bug?
My sister, she's 6 years older, so she did not that much pick up the mountain bike sport bug, but she also was doing some judo, and was always also quite active. But when we as a family explored actually mountain bike, she was already out of house, and she was the only one in our family that was not so much in mountain biking or in cycling. Also, my mother for a while, she really enjoyed I can remember we did a lot of like family holidays on the island Elba in Italy, with just going with our bikes there and riding together around the island. And so we explored actually the mountain bike sport as a family, and all of us had really, really fun riding our bikes. And my sister now a bit now, she also really enjoys mountain biking, but she didn't start it with us she was went already to high school, and
Yeah. Nino, what did your parents do when you were growing up for their professions?
Uh, my father has a small constructive company, so he does like renovation on houses, or he helped a lot building up my house where I'm living. Yeah, he's in a small construction company. But he's really passionate also about trail building. So now he's already 70, 72. He still works, but in winter he also spends his winter in Tuscany building trails. Um,
With your
that's
brother?
that with my brother. That's where my brother has his bike school, and yeah,
Yeah. What's the name of that bike school in Tuscany?
Schurter bike school.
Of course, of course.
Of course.
I think I've seen
Yeah.
some video of you riding there in the past.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed to ride there. It's a beautiful region. Yeah, Tuscany, it is nice, and the trails there are also really cool. So if you guys have the chance, go and check it out, and take my brother as a guide and as a teacher. Will you guys will have some fun.
Cool, cool. How about mom? In addition to raising the family, did your mom have a career outside of that?
No, she since we were born, she raised us and was the best support we could have.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, that's the hardest job in the world.
Yeah, we were not easy.
Nino, when you were a kid, you were a skier and a cyclist. How did you make the decision to go two wheels versus skis? What was it about? Like you could have just as easily become an excellent professional skier, but you went cycling.
Yeah, for a while I enjoyed to do both, but I think I'm more the summer athlete, and I really enjoy riding. And still, when I'm go today on the bike, it still feels for me it's the best sport. And I think I already realized back then that mountain biking is my passion, and that's why I decided, yeah, I stopped then with alpine skiing racing, and got really into cycling. Yeah.
Yeah. If you weren't a cyclist, what other career might you have chosen, either sporting or non-sporting?
Now I really enjoy to do like uh, Nordic skiing. I could imagine that if maybe some dice would fall different, I could also be a Nordic ski athlete, because it's quite similar. It's also an endurance sport, um, and I also really enjoyed to do this. If it would be something out of the sport, maybe a helicopter pilot, what I'm also now doing for. Um, Now I started to fly. Maybe that could also be something. Being a pilot in the Swiss mountains.
It's funny, I was going to ask you about that later in the show, but since you brought it up, let's talk about that. So, you're currently studying or getting your helicopter pilot's license and doing the various different tests for different levels, right? Tell us a little bit about how'd you get into helicopter flying?
Yeah, first of all, it's I'm living in Switzerland in the mountains, and yeah, there's the helicopter is much needed for several things, for rescues, but also for like we have a lot of mountain halts that need to get supported by helicopters, or also farmers that live far up. So I always have had contact with helicopter, even had some rescues from friends where helicopters were involved, and I always was fascinated about it, and I always had like, oh, that's also something cool, or I would love to be able to fly a thing like this myself. And
Yeah.
I I I always dreamed about it. And when Corona came and all our races got cancelled, I was thinking maybe now it's the time. I can't just stay home and train for nothing. I not even knew when the next competition is. So I called the local flying school if they are still able to to teach, and I luckily found that it's now a good friend of me. He's flying normally. He's flying on an airline jet, and he also couldn't fly because there were no clients. So he was really happy to do the license with me. So I in 2020 I did my private pilot license, and since then I have a private pilot license. So I'm allowed to fly for myself or friends without earning money. I'm allowed to fly a Robinson helicopter, and right now I'm just busy to do like in Switzerland we have a special rating for the high mountains. It's the mountain rating. I'm busy doing this to be allowed to land on some mountain landings. And I was just yesterday I was flying or landing on a glacier on 4,100 meters. That was it's quite insane. It's 13,000 feet, so high up in the beautiful mountains on glaciers. It's something I'm really enjoy, and maybe I want to keep doing and get better, and maybe I'm also one day getting my professional pilot license, but not
Wow.
with the idea to do it as my main job, but maybe on the side doing some of. It's really difficult to get a job as a helicopter pilot. There's way too much pilots actually, and there's not too much jobs. But it's still something I enjoy for the moment, and it's a similar challenge like sport. It's really demanding, and yeah, it's a challenge I quite enjoy at the moment.
That's incredible. What an incredible talent to learn. And yeah, take advantage of the timing with Corona and things being a little quieter. It's a great opportunity. Nino, I heard a rumor that at the Leger World Championships, you maybe flew home after the race in a helicopter. Did you fly yourself or did somebody fly you?
Yeah, I flew home. Yeah, I flew partly myself, but not all the way. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. To win world championships and then fly yourself home in a helicopter. Um,
To get dinner back home.
to have dinner with the family, that's pretty special. All right, we won't talk too much about that, but I am impressed. Um, we're going to switch to the sprint round of this podcast where I throw a bunch of words at you and you say whether you like this or that. And it's really just a unique way for us to learn some of
Sure.
your personal preferences. So we'll just start in with pancakes or waffles.
Mm, pancakes. I'm both not eating too much, but if maybe a pancake.
Yeah. Beer or wine.
Oh, that's a hard decision. Um, if I can just one you choose, then it's wine.
Coffee or tea.
Coffee. That's an easy one.
Tacos or burritos.
Tacos.
Spicy or mild.
Spicy.
Cold weather or hot weather.
Hot weather. I'm not a good athlete in cold conditions.
Yeah. How about if you were outdoors in an event, rain or snow? If you
Snow.
had to pick one,
So snow
snow.
for sure.
The mountains or the beach?
The mountains. I also enjoy the beach for some holidays but if I have to choose something, I've for sure the mountains. That's where I feel home.
How about big cities or quiet mountain towns?
Quiet mountain towns. It's also my roots.
Yeah, yeah. Cars or trucks?
Cars.
I guess I could have added helicopters in there too. Pavement or dirt?
That's an easy one there, too.
Easy, easy. Although you did have a stint, I heard, in professional road cycling as well. So, but I know dirt is where you're at. Where
Yeah,
you're at.
yeah.
Gloves or gloveless?
I love to ride gloveless. when it's warm enough and if I'm feeling comfortable enough. But racing, or um, if I'm pinning it, then gloves need to be on.
Yeah. How about this should be an easy one. Clipped in or flat pedals?
Yeah, mostly clipped in, but I'm also enjoying to ride sometimes flat pedals. I have a trail bike with flat pedals, and it's also something I sometimes enjoy to do. Yeah,
Cool. Cool. How about in your tires, low pressure or high pressure?
low pressure,
Yeah.
as low as possible, and hopefully getting no flats.
With respect to your bicycle, fix it yourself or take it to a mechanic?
I prefer my mechanic, Yannick. He's doing it much better than I do myself.
Yeah, you're in a unique position. The last question, dogs or cats?
Uh, Cats. We have two cats at home, but also like my mother has a dog, so it's also a hard one. But we have two nice cats, so I
But
have to choose.
you've got cats.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Cool. Thank you. Thank you. So the next piece of the show is called The Climb, and this is really where we're gonna look at your professional cycling career. So tell us about the moment where you started to have some success in mountain bike racing, but somebody must have spotted some talent and said, "Hey, join this team and you'll be on a path to go pro." Tell us about that time and what happened.
Um, that was to the time the year before I turned junior. We had a we had a, from early on a really good racing series in Switzerland that a friend of mine, Andy Seli, is actually started, and he was for a while also Swiss national coach of the cross country team, and then he saw actually that as a national coach he can't take too much action to develop or um, to to achieve something with athletes. So he came up with the plan to start a private team and got in contact with Thomas Frischknecht, that we all know as Frischi now, and he
Yeah.
started back then. They called it the Swiss Power mountain bike team, what we are now the SRAM mountain bike team, and Andy Seli, he actually contacted me when he started this team. He saw me as a young kid racing this his series, and he told me, yeah, you have great talent. I would like to take you in on board on the team. Um, but he had then also a bit the feeling I'm still a bit too much freestyle and not too focused. And then for the
Yeah.
first year, then he told me, "No, we now decided not to take you." And for the first year, he started the team with Frischi and but with a lot of other riders. And then the next year I was again quite successful, really good in those kids races. And then I just turned then into the junior categories. And then he said, "Yeah, you can join the team." Um, and that was 2003. So I'm part of the Scots Ram mountain bike team since 2003. And
Wow.
Andy Sely stopped then being the team manager, and Frischi took over. And yeah, now it's 19 years later. I'm still part of it, and we're going into the 20th season now together, Frischi and I, and Andy is still a great friend of me and is still involved in a lot of mountain bike events in Switzerland, and he was for sure the reason or the one that spotted me.
Yeah. And in the early years when you joined the team, had Frischi moved into management or was he also still riding, 19 years ago?
He was still racing, so he was the team leader back then. He raced until 2008, so for 5 years we were actually teammates. And he was, I haven't at the beginning he was on completely different events. I saw him at T camps maybe and some of the races, but he was racing
Yeah.
World Cups and I was still racing the Swiss National Series and maybe Worlds. And then 2008 he stopped racing and took over the management of the team and yeah, but we started as teammates actually. But he was always really the whole team was built around him.
Right.
And he was from the beginning really involved in this team, but he wasn't like in the organization part, or especially with us young riders, he wasn't that much involved at the beginning. um, but then later on more and more.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember those days vividly. So it's pretty cool. Almost 20 years next year on basically the same organization. I'm thinking too, you guys have always ridden SRAM components.
Hmm.
And so I'm wondering if before you joined the team in 2003, were you riding SRAM components then even?
I was riding for 2 years for the Scott Allianz team. So I was already for more years on Scott bikes, but I need to think if we have been on SRAM there, and maybe I need to check some photos.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not
Maybe not.
sure if we have been on SRAM there, but yeah, I'm racing on Scott bikes 23 years and on SRAM products for sure now for 20 years. So yeah.
That's amazing. Amazing. Such a fun time. And Nino, tell me about, so you joined the Swiss Power team at the time, and then what was the first big achievement racing? Was it a national championship or a World Cup victory? When did that start to happen and skyrocket?
So the first year, um, 2003 was my first year in junior category. So that was also my first time being at World Championships, and we had Championships in Switzerland in close to Lugano, uh, and I got there second at the junior race behind Jaroslav Kolavi, that was later on, uh, or for a long time, one of my main contenders. And I think Jakob Fuglsang that went then on the road later. He
Yeah,
was, I
yeah.
think, fourth. So yeah, that was my first, I would say, international achievement, and already in the team in the first year. Yeah.
Nice, nice. And so over the past 20 years, you've racked up a ton of victories, from Olympic victories to national championships to World Cup championships to World Cup single victories, almost too many to count. Of those, what would you say was one of the highlights of your career in terms of winning or accomplishments? Is there one that sticks out?
Yeah, for sure. Olympics is really special. It's always special because it just happens all 4 years. You feel a bit more pressure, and it's just special for every athlete, I would say. So my Olympic champion title from Rio was for sure something that changed a lot in me, or how I approach the whole sport. But also my one of my world champion titles back home in Lenzerheide in 2018. It's still, I would say, that was for me the most, or the victory that is for me now the most important and the one I'm enjoying the most. Winning
Yeah.
back home world championships in a yeah, was a crazy atmosphere. There was also, like, I would say, for me it's like it's the point where we achieved with mountain bike racing, where I think the sport needs to be, like having great events with. I think at the race there were like almost 30,000 people,
Yeah.
spectators, and it was a great event. And I won in front of my family and friends and my home crowd. That's still the best win for me, and also in a nice race. Yeah, Mathieu van der Poel got third. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah,
That's cool. Now you've been in 3 Olympics, right? Rio,
four,
London, Beijing.
four already.
And what was the
Tokyo,
fourth?
Tokyo.
Tokyo, right? Right.
Yeah,
So with another Olympics coming up in Paris, will we see you in number 5?
let's see. Yeah, I'm not the youngest anymore. So at Worlds this year, I was the third oldest rider in the field.
Oh, wow.
So so it's for sure it not gets easier, but if everything goes well and I'm still feeling I have the chance to maybe win another medal, I want to for sure try another Olympics. But if I see I can't reach anymore where I love to be, then I probably better give the possibility to another other Swiss rider, because it's really hard to get a spot now. It's just two riders
Right.
per nation if you're a strong nation, and like in top 10 in the world ranking, I think there are almost four Swiss. So it's tough to make the qualification first of all, but it's also tough for those that not qualifying. So if I really see I have a chance to to potentially win another medal, I for sure want to try again. If not, I better give the position to a younger rider.
Yeah. Yeah. That's smart. What about, let's talk about World Cup titles. There's a record of World Cup titles that's within arm's reach of you grabbing and taking over. Tell us a bit about that pursuit, and you know when's that next record going to be smashed?
Yeah, now I'm sharing this record of World Cup victories with Julia Opsalo. We both have 33 World Cup wins, um, and I also actually from now I quite enjoy that we are sharing this record. He's also or he's one of the greatest in our sport, and um, I quite enjoy to share this record with him. But for sure, I would love to have it once for myself and hopefully win another World Cup. But yeah, it doesn't get easier. If everything goes well and I can again win another one, would be insane and awesome. But it's not that important anymore for me. I'm quite happy to share this record with Julien.
Yeah, yeah, exciting, nice. Nino, you've had a super long career, and over 20 years of riding your bike, either as a junior or as an elite pro. Um, and mountain biking is a dangerous sport sometimes. Have there ever been any close calls where you've taken a tumble or a spill that just sort of spooked you a little bit?
I wouldn't confirm that it's a dangerous sport. It's like mountain biking, I think for sure you sometimes you go a bit fast, but it's still on a trail. You are not too fast, and if you don't risk too much, it's not a too dangerous sport. If you see like injuries from soccer, there's much more injuries in soccer because there's others that hit you during playing. But in cycling, I would say it's not such a dangerous sport, and I'm now doing it now for many years, and I did not had any really bad injuries from cycling.
Do you have any hardware in your body? Any
Nothing.
screws or
No,
plates?
no.
Wow.
I never broke something with riding my bike. And
Wow.
the worst tumble I had was this year in snowshoe, um, where I crashed off that ramp. Maybe some of you guys saw it. Um,
Right.
but yeah, I'm doing it now since I'm almost every day on the bike, and I never broke any bones or had any bad injuries. So I'm not agreeing it's a dangerous sport. I
Yeah,
think
no, I agree. I think,
it's way dangerous riding your bike on the roads if you've traffic involved and stuff like this. On the bike on trails, I think it's quite a safe sport.
totally agree. Totally agree. How about this? There's a lot of pressure in 20 years of riding at the top level. Has there ever been a moment where you wanted to quit or just give it all up or hang it up and say, you know what, I'm done?
For sure, there's always a lot of pressure involved, but I think if you like to compete and if you like racing, it's part of it, and you need to like that. If I think everybody that is racing and doing it for many years, he likes actually to have pressure and likes this this feeling being under pressure and to know now he counts. And I actually I never had really the feeling I want to quit, except in during Corona when we had events with no spectators and no atmosphere. There I
Right.
had like it wasn't the same for me anymore, and I was like, for what should I do it if there's no people around? I missed the atmosphere really a lot. So
Right.
when we had then in what was the late 2020, yeah, late 2020, there I was almost there at point where I was saying, if we keep going like this, I will not doing for much longer.
Yeah.
But now
Yeah.
we have some great events back and great atmosphere, and I'm having fun again.
So exciting that Corona is slowly moving behind us and life is resuming
Yeah.
as we knew it. Well, that's exciting. Um, Nino, you work out a lot on the bike, but you also work out off the bike, in fitness and training in the gym. Tell us a little bit about what's your training or workout routine look like besides riding a lot on the bike?
Yeah, that's something also I really enjoy on mountain biking. You have actually to train really diverse. You need to be a complete athlete. It's not just all about your endurance on the bike and being light. You need to be powerful. You need to have a lot of power in your upper body, in your core, and you need to be a complete athlete to be able to perform on all different tracks. And so I train. I go running. I do a lot of gym work with a lot of coordination stuff involved. I ride my bike. I ride my road bike. I ride my enduro bike. Sometimes the e-bike. In winter, I do Nordic skiing really a lot. And when I'm coming back, I just jump on the bike to make a bit this transition to my sport. I do some backcountry skiing. Yeah, that's I think that's also something I really enjoy in mountain biking, that you have to train actually really diverse.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. Well, you've had an incredible career, and I'm curious, sort of switching into the final section of our show here. We like to explore what athletes like yourself have done off the bike to make this world, a better place, or either to teach or educate or inspire. And I know you're involved with a few organizations that are doing some really incredible things. Can you tell us about a couple of those?
So first of all, for sure, like getting people passionate about cycling or enjoy cycling, that's I would say it's my biggest part, or that's what I really enjoy to also hopefully get kids into this virus, mountain biking and cycling and being active outside. I think that's for me the most important and something I really enjoy most.
Yeah.
But then I'm involved in a few other organizations. One I'm quite involved, or I'm an ambassador that I'm doing a lot is like in SolidarMed. That's a Swiss um, charity organization that tries to enhance the medical situation in rural countries, especially in Africa. And I visited in the past a few of their projects. One was in Zambia, the one in Mozambique, and I'm just going on another trip to Lesotho, where with a media crew to show actually the situation there and make people aware about the medical situation in those really remote and rural places, and hopefully enhance for some kids and families and people that live there their health situation.
Yeah.
That's one, and I'm also an ambassador for Laureus. There it's like we try to bring give the possibility to for children to make sport that are not that fortunate, or that not having the best conditions to make sport, either if they are coming from out of rural families, or they have any disabilities, and help them to enjoy actually sports, to enhance their life style or life happiness.
Yeah, yeah. And is that largely a Swiss-based organization, or are they all across Europe?
They are all across Europe, even worldwide. They doing so. I'm ambassador for Switzerland, but they have worldwide. They're doing works, and it's a great project. Yeah.
I can only imagine that when Nino shows up to a small rural town, that there's quite some excitement that happens from the kids. Am I right?
Yeah, there's for this charity. I'm mostly been in Switzerland, and
Yeah.
there's we had just an event on a pump track where people normally don't have the chance to go there, and they had some great fun, and it was actually cool to see. Yeah.
That's cool. That's amazing. Well, we love when we hear stories about people like yourselves that have, had such amazing careers and are able to, transition or change gears from, pro sport to giving back to community. And so congratulations on both of those. And we'll list in the show notes where people can find out more information about both of those organizations.
Cool. Yeah, that's great.
Great, great. Well, Nino, we are out of time on our show today. It's been great talking with you, and I really want to thank you for sharing your story and inspiring other people to get out and ride. So thanks a ton, and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you, David. It was awesome to talk to you, and hope to see you all somewhere on the trail.
Great. Thanks, Nino.
Thank you.